Do you want to check your iPhone to see if it's streaming and so forth? Hey, everybody.
Ricky's live.
Okay. Oh, I gotta keep that plugged in. Come on. Do your thing. Thank you. No, we did not find Rosie, Nancy. Thank you for asking. We're kind of on just to talk about it, maybe work through some of our personal feelings. And I know that a lot of people have made suggestions, and we can talk about some of that too. If you haven't heard, Rosie, who you see on your screen there, she was outside with me when our neighbors were coming down the hill at night with their lights on, very bright, which is what you would do. But Rosie didn't see a truck. She just saw lights and she didn't know what it was. She ran towards it. And I got out in the road trying to stop them from going forward, because she was off to the side of the road where they would not see her. And the last thing I saw was her head jump up directly between the two headlights and then come back down. And I just knew she had been hit. And if she had not been hit, she had gone under the truck between the wheels, because she was in the middle between the two headlights. She was not off to the side. And this is happening right outside our house, not 50 yards from a driveway, maybe 30 yards. So for those of you that may not know, we live extremely remote, 10 miles from another human. And the gate that is to our ranch is locked. It's private for only the people that have land out here. But we are the only people that live here. And our neighbors, Jose and Lisa, they're from Florida, and they have a vacation home right near us, and a quarter mile, maybe half mile away. And they were coming to have supper with us. So it was that truck, and I witnessed it. I had Rosie outside with me, because both Barley and Rosie just do better when they greet somebody outside rather than inside. It's not aggressive. It's just their anxious happiness and all of that is easier managed outside than inside. So Barley had come back inside because it was extremely cold, single digits. Rosie was outside, and when she saw the truck, she ran to the truck, and I realized that the truck was not going to see her. So again, I tried to stop the truck, and that's when I saw the headlights and Rosie's head pop up right in the middle. All I saw was her head just go up and down, just like that. I ran towards the truck. The truck got stopped because it didn't want to hit me. And I just screamed, "I think you just hit Rosie." And I ran around to the back side, and it's pitch black. There's no moon. We live so remote. It is black as black could be. And I only had my iPhone to look, but she wasn't in the road. So I thought, oh my God, she got hit and she's laying on the side of the road. So I'm looking in the bushes and the weeds with my iPhone, and I can't see anything. And of course I'm in a panic. And so I run into the house, and Hugo is working on dinner, and I'm just screaming, "Hugo, I think Rosie's just been hit by the truck. We need flashlights. Let's find the flashlights. Let's get back out there." And we went back out there and started looking, and she just simply was not there. She vanished into thin air. And I don't know if she was injured. We do know this. We know that she was not killed, because if she was killed, at least instantly, she would be there. Then after maybe 5 minutes or 10 minutes of walking around, Jose said, "Ricky, I don't see any blood." And I hadn't even thought of that, but we went back up to the snow, right to the incident scene, and there's no blood. There's no blood trail. There's nothing. It's just she's gone. And we're now, because we had that morning, we had a little dusting of 2 to 3 inches of snow. So there was fresh snow, powdery snow, and we started looking for tracks. Now, I'm going to show you a map because I did put a map together. Let's do this map if I can get this turned on. And so on this map, this is the house, and the start of where Rosie was right here, and she's running down a little side path towards where the truck is coming. I get out in front of the road about right here, and this is where she just makes a turn and goes into the front of the truck. I know you can't tell, but to the left where it says Mirkwood, that's all slightly downhill. It's not a steep downhill, but when you cross the road and go into the meadow, it starts going uphill. And we searched all along the side of this, everywhere, just looking for tracks that might have sent her up into this field, but there were not any tracks. And then in this area and in Mirkwood, this is where the dogs come out and they all romp and they play and run through the forest. So there's lots of dog tracks in here. And so there was no way to know what's Rosie's tracks and what's not tracks, because we had already stomped down all the snow in this area. So if she had ran back into the forest, we just couldn't find her. But I fully well expected her to have been knocked unconscious at some point or just ran. And we looked all in the side of this forest just trying to find her. And she wasn't there. She wasn't anywhere to be found. And so, of course, we got the headlights. For what it's worth, I want you to notice that there's this little path coming on this side of Mirkwood. I'm telling you all this because somebody may have a brilliant idea at some point. And this is the road that goes down. I'll show you this later. It goes down and it goes way down to a culvert and a creek, and it goes around. But here's why these are important. We walked all this area, and I'm looking for any kind of tracks here to see if she might have gone that way. And there were no tracks, none, going this way. And we walked all through Mirkwood, and we get down to this path, and we're looking in this path, and again, there's no tracks going down this direction. So we're just baffled. At least, no new tracks, no dog tracks, nothing going this way. So it's like she's confined to this area. Now, remember, I ran back into the house and came back out so that we could do all of that. So there was a little bit of time where we didn't have reasonable flashlights. But we've looked everywhere, and I just don't know what to do. I know there was a truck, and I know that would have been traumatic and extremely scary. She might be 100% okay.
They cannot see the cursor.
Oh, you can't see the cursor, I see. Well, but what you can see is if you look between the house and Mirkwood, you see that little pathway. And if you look north of Mirkwood, you can see the driveway that's going down. It's a little side road. It's not really a driveway. It gets us to the other side of the property. So that's you can see the red line is where she was running. I'm going to show you a different picture. This is our house now, where the yellow X is. And you can see right next to the X, that's Mirkwood, and you can see that driveway. It's going from the main road down to the creek where there's a culvert, and then it turns and goes kind of south on the other side of the creek. Everything on each side of that creek is going downhill to the creek. And so there's not any easy way to get to the creek except taking the road. She did not take the road because there was no tracks on that road. And I'm talking about the little skinny road to the north of our house. But you can see where our neighbors are, and they're up, way up a hill from where we are. That's why their driveway goes snaking back and forth, because it's such an uphill climb. What we suspect is with any animal that's been injured, they go downhill. They don't go uphill. We don't know that she was injured, but still, Rosie is not Cordelia. She's not agile and athletic and like a Labrador or something. You can see her there. She's a little stocky little couch potato, and she doesn't necessarily want to run at fast speeds for long periods of time. So she's just absolutely, we're just baffled as to where she could be. The only thing that I can say is that she might have decided to take the road, which was behind the truck. If I go back to the close picture, no, sorry, that's not the right one. This one. If I go to this picture, you could see that she could run to the upper north part of this picture, and she's running slightly uphill, and then we would not see tracks if that's where she went. But here's what we do know. We know that there was a truck incident. We know there was no blood. We do not know if she was hit or not, but we do know that she was not at the scene of the incident, and she was at least alive enough to run and get away from what it was that had scared her. She could have gotten hit on the head and not have blood. That could do concussion, knock her silly where she's running randomly, except we don't find any tracks anywhere reasonably at all. So we don't, I mean, I don't want to say I wish she was injured, but if there was blood, we would know which direction she went. But there is no blood. And the road had a dusting of snow, so it wasn't just gravel like you see here. It was really snow. And not a lot of snow, but enough to see tracks. To give you one more perspective, because people they go, have you contacted, your local shelters or whatever? I'm going to just show you this. We live 3 miles from the gate, and there is no other house anywhere close to us except our neighbor's house. There are no other humans within like 10 miles of us. The gate, the main gate, is locked and only accessible by people that come to the ranch. And while there might be a hunter or two somewhere out here, we've not seen any in days. So we are at a loss. I mean, I could see Cordelia maybe running to the gate. It's all downhill. It's about 1,500 feet elevation downhill. But I just can't see Rosie doing it. So we are looking today. Well, the first night it was single digits. We looked for 4 hours. She went missing about 5:45, and just before midnight we finally stopped. And it was so cold. It was calm, but it was 7 degrees. And so really, really cold. So yesterday was nice. It was beautiful. It got up into the early 40s, low 40s, and there was still no wind, so we could call out and we could hear. The other thing that I would tell you is that we never heard a yip. I never heard a thud. No. I never heard a yip. She was bark, 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 and then quiet and gone and vanished. And now, so yesterday it was Hugo and me and Steve came out, and Jose and Lisa were looking. So last night the temperatures only got down to about 27, so it wasn't horrible, and it was only windy for a while, and this morning was beautiful and calm, and we had another beautiful calm day.
Yeah.
And some amazing people came from La Vida and the area, Colorado Springs. We had friends that just showed up. We had about 10 people looking today, and we walked all over the area just looking for Rosie and trying to fan out and walk up this way and that way. The bushes are not covered in leaves. Because of the fire, there's not any trees that really provide any hiding. Even with our binoculars, we can see for a long distance and look easily into the snow and under trees that are burned, and we're just not finding her. There's people that have asked, what about the crawl space? You can't get into our house from a crawl space. We do not have any outbuildings. We have looked under the truck numerous times, and the belly of that truck is not even exposed. It's got a plate on the bottom where she couldn't get into. No, she's not in the wheel wells, and there's no other way for her to end up in the engine, which of course we looked numerous times. Then people are saying, well, we saw your little snowplow thing. She's not under the snowplow. No. There's nothing else for her to get under or inside. We leave the garage open so that if she does come back, she can get into a place while we're trying to sleep. We're trying to sleep. It ain't working so good. But she's not in the garage, and we put out a blanket for her. We've left the lights on. Tonight, we're actually playing music to the outside to just let her hear music. That we play classical music a lot in the house when we're gone. So maybe she would just hear something that sounds familiar and try to come back this direction. We've also taken our dirty clothes and our sheets and the blankets that they sleep on, and we've placed them maybe a quarter of a mile apart all over the roads, just hoping that she might smell something. Bottom line is, we don't know if she's dead or alive, but we're trying to stay hopeful and believe that she is alive and that she's absolutely petrified and gotten somewhere where she's just staying there. And people ask about Barley and Rosie. Barley has really sensitive feet. He doesn't like gravel. He doesn't like being in the snow for very long, and it's because it literally hurts him. And he won't go hunting because he's in pain. Cordelia has no problem. She loves running outside, so she has been outside with us on these hunts, running through the wild, but she's not kept a scent of anything. We've not seen any sign of an attack by a coyote or a mountain lion. There's been no blood. There's been nothing. It's truly as if she's just vanished into thin air.
For the ravens as well.
So now we're watching the ravens to see if they start circling, to see if they're staying in one place, because if they stay in one place, there's a likelihood that there's something down there for them to be interested in. We could record our voices and just start calling out. We've thought about trying to get Barley to bark a little bit, and I can just push those recordings outside. But I think the music might be reasonable. The thing is that I'm not sure she will come to our voices. I don't know. I mean, every dog's different. I've been getting reports from people about their own personal stories that the dog wouldn't come. They called, they couldn't find it. It took 2 days. And one of the other dogs finally found the missing dog, but the missing dog still wouldn't come out of hiding until some other incident happened, and then there was a joyous reunion. I know that dogs are extremely resilient. I also believe that they go downhill. And so for us, there's just a lot of terrain, a lot of up and down, and I do not see her going uphill. I see her trying to get to a road and staying on a road. But at this point, I still think that if she's alive, she's stuck in one place and doesn't want to move, even if she's heard our voices. So she's going to have to get into survival mode if she's alive. And for me, that just means I'm really hungry now because there's snow. She could eat some snow for some water. The creek, I can stand with 1 foot on each side of the creek, but water runs constantly. We went to the creek. There are 3 times we've walked the creek. There's been no tracks of any dog along the creek on either side of our culvert. We've walked extensively both directions. And if she went to the creek, we would definitely see tracks because you can see rabbit tracks, you can see a deer track, but you can't see any dog tracks at all. I don't know, folks. There's a million questions, or have you tried this, or have you done that? And I don't mean to be disrespectful at all, but some of them are really more like, oh, I live in a city. Have you called animal control? Or have you put up signs around town? It's not even close to town. It takes us 45 minutes to get to town. And it would take Rosie days and days and days and days to get to town. We do have a neighbor that's several miles away, and she has dogs, and she knows she's the only house between us and kind of civilization. So we have notified her. She knows us. Rosie has a collar on. She has my name and phone number on her tag. So if somebody were to find her lower down in a most unexpected place, they could contact us. So she does have a tag on. If you want to offer any suggestions, we're obviously there. Allison, yes, we've looked everywhere in the truck. She did not get hit and thrown up over the truck. I know that did not happen. But in the bed of the truck was a picnic table. So and they've already taken the picnic table out and placed it at their house. So I know it sounds like the truck should be the culprit, because how can she just not be there? But she's just not there. She's not under the truck. She's not in the tire wells of the truck. She's not under our skid steer. We don't have anything that she can get under at this house. We have a big concrete foundation, and yes, we have a crawl space, but the only way to get to that crawl space is through a stairway that's inside the house. And I even thought maybe she got scared, and when I ran in with Hugo, when I ran in to tell him that in that second that I had the door open, she could have slipped in behind me. But she's not in the house. She's just not. And so we're just at a loss. I posted 2 videos on YouTube today. If you look at Ricky Tim's, you can see them, but I'm a blubbering mess, so maybe you don't want to watch that. But one of them is sharing the story of what transpired, and the other one is the story of how I got the dogs. And I decided that I would try to tell you that story because you may not have seen it. But in 2019, I'm living alone here on the mountain. Hugo's not in my world yet. And we started having some trouble with break-ins in homes around the county. A lot of break-ins, like 37 homes broken into more than one time. And all meth related. And I didn't have a dog here. I didn't have anybody to bark. I didn't have companionship. And so on November the 3rd of 2019, this is just before COVID, I'm coming back from Houston to the International Quilt Show. And I go through Wichita Falls, which is where my family are. And my nephew is in law enforcement. And I said, look, I'm going home today with dogs one way or the other. Surely there's a little pit mix somewhere that's a puppy we could find. And so he ended up getting his law enforcement buddies involved. One of them contacted a criminal informant, a CI, and that person said, you know, this guy's got these 2 puppies and they're not in, he's not taking care of them. They're in bad shape. So it was like a drug deal. There were calls made, texts made, big numbers thrown around on what these dogs would cost because he wanted a fortune for them. I guess probably because he thought that we would be fighting them. And that may have been what they were bred for. I don't know. But nonetheless, we met this guy on a corner in a parking lot, and I was looking for a little female. And by the way, I had already contacted a Great Dane breeder and told her that I would come because we didn't know that this deal with Rosie was going to come down. So I go and I meet this guy, and he hands Rosie to me. He never gets out of the car. She's emaciated. She weighs nothing. When I put her down just to look at her walk, she just crumpled to the ground. She didn't have energy to even walk around. She stunk to high heaven. It was obvious that she hadn't had any exercise because she could barely walk. She's 8 weeks old and can't really walk. She smelled like piss and shit. So we know that whatever confined space she was in, she was not able to get out of her own, excrement. And then she had sores on her head. And I am talking to this guy, negotiating a price, and I look in the passenger seat and I see this little brindle lump laying down almost lifeless. And I said, oh, and you've got a brindle one. He says, yeah, I thought I told you that, but you didn't want a boy. And I just looked at these dogs and I went, these dogs are not going to go home with this guy. And I said, well, let me look at him. So he passed Barley, it didn't have a name at the time, passed Barley over to me. Barley was skin and bones. And I finally just negotiated a price and I gave the guy cash. And we went ahead and went over to the Great Dane dealer breeder because I had already made an appointment. And then I'm like, what the heck? Sure, I'll buy a Great Dane. So I got 3 puppies on the same day, November 3rd, 2019. Cordelia was 5 weeks old, and these 2 babies were 8 weeks old. When I finally got them to the vet 3 days later, the vet asked me what happened to Rosie's tail. And I went, what do you mean? He says, her tail's broken. And her tail was broken right at her butt where it attaches. I can't imagine how it got broken, but I can tell you this, she probably got kicked. Because even though she was the happiest girl and she wagged her tail it was always down. It was just like a down tail, just wagging like this. She couldn't raise it up because it was broken. But when she squatted to pee, her pee always went out sideways. So they must have done some damage inside her rear end as a little puppy. And I feel like I've given them the best homes, and they came from the worst start possible. And I just don't want Rosie to end her days alone on the mountain. I will be okay if I find her and she's not alive, because I know that I can wrap her in love. But I simply can't imagine her out in the wild forever and us not finding anything. So all we can do is let you know we're doing our best. And I know you guys are making a million comments that we're not really able to read right now. We'll look through them later. We've had people send us spiritual messages on where they think Rosie would be located. We take those seriously, but it's just almost like baffling. It's almost as if she just vanished off of the earth because she's nowhere to be found, and there's no tracks, and there's no blood. There's just nothing. She is not the kind of dog that wants to be out running around, having her own little thing. She is sensitive. She wants to be close. She wants to be in our laps, on our necks, up at our shoulders all the time. She and Barley are like little synchronized swimmers. They're side by side all the time, as close as they can be together. And Barley doesn't know where Rosie is, of course. So he's a little confused right now, too. We will try to get rid of this crazy person that feels like this is an appropriate place. I can go block that person right now.
I don't see his comment.
Oh, it's this Emily Promise that's made a million things. I'm hoping I can get there and do that.
I can do.
No, I don't think you can block. Can you block? Do you have admin?
Yeah, I think so.
There's this person. Oops, no. Sorry. Comments. I just banned that person. Yeah.
You did?
Yeah, I've just banned this person. We were hacked about 2 years ago, and so I've got followers that are absolutely not, they're not legitimate. So I don't know what else to tell you guys. I mean, have you contacted these services, and have you put up posters around town? It's just not like that. We are the most remote people you know. You do not know anybody, I can promise you that lives as remote as Hugo and I do. We love it out here. It's beautiful. We tell people it's hell to get here and heaven being here. But it's not like Rosie is even in the suburbs or close to town. There's not a street light, I can't imagine, until La Vida. That's miles and miles away.
22?
At least 28 miles to La Vida. So we just wanted to come on and tell you night has fallen again and Rosie is not found. I have hope that she will come to her senses, that she's not overly hurt, and that she will find the motivation to move from wherever she is. But maybe she just needs to recover. I know that dogs can be gone for a while. We're not putting food outside because I don't want the coyotes or anything else to come. She has to come. And I just ask for you guys to send us all the best thoughts and prayers and hugs that you possibly can. I know if there's anybody within my voice right now that lives within 50, 60, 70 miles and you want to come and look for her, please, we will take all the people. I, as you probably know, am a heart patient. I had quadruple heart bypass 22 years ago. I can walk and I can do stuff, but climbing up and down the hills is extremely difficult for me. I'm doing it as best I can, but I get so worn out that I feel like I'm letting her down. So if there's anybody that is interested in coming, you'll just have to reach out to me personally, somehow or another. The Facebook message, I'll try to find them. They're difficult sometimes to find. Or go to my website, rickytims.com, and try to leave a comment there. Not a comment, but a contact us, the contact us email. Honestly, you can contact me through the email address of my Facebook page, which is Ricky Timms Inc. RICKYTIMSINC, Ricky Timms Inc. @gmail.com. And I would get that message, rickytimsinc@gmail.com. We do put food out during the day, absolutely. I don't know. That's not going to do so. She's not going to come to the house and surprise. I mean, we're going to see her if she comes to the house. I think maybe you're saying, can we put food out in the wild? We could do that. We could put some food where we've put these blankets, where we put these scent items that we hope. We could certainly do that during the day. It's a good suggestion. Smells are something that they will come to. So, but I just don't want the coyotes and the mountain lions to as well. We've had someone today put the word out for a bloodhound to see if maybe a bloodhound would get here and do its thing trying to find her. Obviously, with all the different people that have been out.
We use a drone as well.
Yeah, so I used my drone, by the way. A lot of people said use a drone. I have a drone. Of course, the luck I would have, because I'm flying it with the camera down, after about 5 minutes, I crashed it into a tree and it went kaput. And normally that's not a big deal, except the camera completely busted off of it. So the camera on the drone is not functional, and the drone, while it will still fly, doesn't have an eye in the sky. So I will have to find another drone. I have no problem buying a drone and flying it. It's something that I'm comfortable doing, but I certainly screwed up today on that. We do have trail cams. We need to go put more trail cams out, because you're exactly right. That will show movement in the event that she's anywhere in the area. So we can do that. We can refresh the trail cams. I don't know anybody with horses, to be honest. It certainly would help me up and down a hill, but at the same time, I know there's no way for you to understand the complexity of where we live. We live in a forest of scrub brush and burned trees. And even horses are not going to want to go through scrub brush, where we need to be looking for Rosie where she might be found. And even for us to walk through the scrub brush it's difficult to do. I realize that the drone might scare her, but at the same time, if it allows me to see her, I know that she's there. So the drone would then, I would take the camera card and watch it slowly, and if I saw a Rosie, I would at least know what area she's in, even if she's scared. She's not on the run. I'm telling you, she is not on the run. She's either dead somewhere where we can't find her, or she's scared and injured staying put, or she's just scared staying put, but she's not running around on the mountain, not yet. It's just now been 48 hours, 49 hours now that she's been gone. There is snow on the ground. It is easy to track. There are, some of you are coming a little bit late, but if you watch from the beginning, you would learn we have a nice, gentle snow cover. The temperatures are not melting it right now. So we would see her tracks, and there are no tracks. There's no blood. There's no tracks. There is nothing, which that's why we keep saying we just feel like she's vanished into thin air. If there was a track, we would follow the track, but there's never been a track. I agree, we need closure. Very much need closure. It's just really sad. I'll tell you, the first night we didn't sleep at all. We leave the lights on, the garage door open. I set an alarm every hour, and I didn't even need the alarm because I would be waking up before an alarm because I couldn't sleep. Well, I was so exhausted yesterday evening that I actually knew the temperature was warmer, and I was losing my mind, and so I did go to sleep, and I slept a little better last night. And every time I woke up, I looked at the temperature, and it was like 27, 28 degrees, which made me feel good. And there's no way for us to look at her at night, so we have to take care of ourselves. That's hard to do because that your appetite goes away. Eating, don't feel like eating much, but you can't do what you got to do if you don't eat. We can't do what we need to do for her if we can't sleep, and we can't do anything at night anyway. So I'm looking at her picture, and it's breaking my heart, but she is such a good dog. I don't even know, Barley is too, but her affection for us is unbelievable. She loves us so much.
She likes when I hold her.
Yeah, she loves both of us. She just wants to cuddle. I mean, some people say that dogs don't like to be hugged. She totally wants to be on us, hugging us all the time.
I mean, when she's so anxious and she feels so calm.
I don't think I can do anything with that person. It is really frustrating that people feel the need to post really, really bad things on something this sincere.
Just click here.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, thank you. All right, here.
Yeah.
Ban. Yeah, I got rid of you. Go, go, go. Mima Hop, Karen, she doesn't know my music any more than she knows anybody else's. But when we're gone, rather than playing rock and roll or whatever, we play classical music. So we have a Bluetooth speaker shooting out the window at big volume all night long. There's an 11-hour playlist that she can hear something that might draw her to the house.
More, yeah.
I know, Tony, I'm not trying to read the comments as much as I am just trying to get them banned from my life.
Yeah, but they are using this conversation for...
Yeah, they're seeing something that's active, and they want to come in and either sell sex or sell politics or whatever, and I'm not having it. Yeah, so Loretta, that video of her snuggling was, I don't know, a year and a half ago, something like that. It showed up in my feed, and I shared it again a couple of Sundays ago. And that's how sweet and loving that dog is. She's amazing. She has her faults, don't get me wrong. But when it comes to sweetness and love for us, it is as strong can be.
Yeah.
I wish I had mules too. I don't even know how to organize that. You guys, I'm still trying to do I'm teaching online classes right now. I have one in the morning. It's a class that's going on. My photography classes are ongoing, and I need to keep up with the students. I know that they would understand. I know they would, but I needed a little bit of a distraction from all this too. Today, you went chopping wood with Jose.
Yeah, because we don't have boiler, so...
Yeah, we still don't have a boiler after 6 weeks. It's supposed to be finished tomorrow, but
yeah.
It's cold, and so we're having to use wood, and we went through all the wood.
And this morning was maybe 62, year inside,
Yeah.
so it was really cold.
So anyway, you found that sawing the chainsaw with the wood and splitting the wood and all that with our neighbor was a good diversion from the anxiety of all this. And so I'm going to keep trying to do what I can with my students and try to keep life going, but it's just difficult. So I appreciate you guys taking time to listen to us. I'm thankful we haven't been extremely overly emotional. I have had sobbing episodes. I guess I'm going to close with, there was no blood, so maybe she's okay. Maybe she really didn't get hit and she just fled. And if she's healthy and not injured and no broken bones and no head trauma, if there's nothing like that, she's just doing what some dogs have done, which is go and hide and be scared and be in shock, and they will come to their senses and find their way home.
Yeah.
And so that's the hope that we hold out for. Regardless, somehow I have to find her. It's winter. We're not expecting any snow for a week or more. So she's in a good situation. When the blizzards start and it gets really bad and I haven't found her, then it's going to be a different story. But you guys, just if you want to know what's going on, please just come back to this page. Just put Ricky Timms. I'm sure you're following this page already. Just put it in your search, come back, and we'll be reporting updates once or twice or 3 times a day. So thank you guys so much for letting us just share our hearts with you tonight.
Thank you. And thank you for the people who came.
Yeah, we want to really appreciate the people that came to volunteer today, and hopefully more people will come. If you, like I said, if you're anywhere close to Walsenburg or Trinidad or Pueblo and you feel like you've got some time, we would really appreciate it. You just need some good sturdy hiking boots and maybe a walking stick, and we've got some granola bars, but it doesn't hurt to bring some, and a bottle of water. We don't have a bottle of water. We haven't been to town to get anything.
We have iced tea.
We do have iced tea. We do have some iced tea that we've made. So, and we would take care of you if you ended up coming out. It's not difficult to get here. If I send you directions, it's going to sound like it's extremely difficult, but it is not difficult. It is one turn. You turn on 530, that's it. I'm going to give you directions past 530 that sounds like something crazy, but it's just one road to the gate, and then you make one turn inside the ranch, and that goes to our house.
Yeah.
So, thank you guys. Thank you guys for listening. There's a lot of you watching right now. And we'll say thank you and goodbye.
Bye.